20 international chess professionals converge here in St. Louis for the 2017 Winter Chess Classic. Hello, chess fans, and welcome to the wrap-up report of the 2017 Winter Chess Classic. Going into today, 3 players were eligible to win in Group A. In fact, a 2 or 3 player playoff could have been possible. In Group B, with Andrey Baryshpolets in the lead, all the Ukrainian had to do was secure a draw, and the victory of the entire field was his. After all other games had finished, only one remained, Ruifeng Li versus David Howell. If David lost, he's out. Fedoseev and Svirts would go to a 2-player Armageddon playoff. If Howell drew, then they would go to a 3-player Armageddon knockout playoff. 120 moves in, David Howell clinched a victory, which meant no playoffs necessary. He takes Group A. We have the winner, Grandmaster David Howell of England. He has been the frontrunner for most of this entire tournament, and today he finally put the kibosh on it. David, how are you feeling after winning in regulation?
I don't think I've ever been more pumped. It's a strange feeling. I feel like fate has smiled on me today in a way because, so many things had to with such small margins, so many things had to go in my favor. And I never dreamed when I woke up this morning that it would be this dramatic, that I'd be playing for 6 hours, that I'd even have a chance to win the tournament. So, this has been probably 2 of the most enjoyable weeks of my career as well. I've just had the best vibe, in St. Louis, and it's a good way to end the tournament.
Is this your first time playing in St. Louis?
That's right, yeah. It's my first time in the States for around 10 years, so yeah, and
cool.
I've wanted to check out the scene here for a while. And
well, it's a shame you didn't have a rest day to check it out a little bit more, right?
I know. I arrived 3 days in advance though, just to acclimatise, get over the jet lag and have a look around, and everyone's so lovely here, and I can't complain about anything.
That's really great. And actually, we are recording this just moments after this game is over, so he's still out of breath.
Still sweaty, yeah.
Right. So, I need to set up this game. So you played Ruifeng Li, the very prominent U.S. junior contender, and we were looking at possible playoffs here. If the situation was, if you lose, then 2 other players have a playoff.
Yes.
If you draw, 3-way playoff.
Yeah.
If you win, then you get to go home, not deal with any of those playoffs,
Sure.
and maybe the latter option is what won. So take us through the game, and we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. I thought, okay, obviously my opponent was very, very promising, strong player, great at tactics. So here, this is where the fun started. It was just a question whether I could win his e5 pawn or get him in a mating net before the end of the 50 moves. So already when he played e5 on move 52, I kind of realized that this might be 50 moves from now is kind of the deadline by when I have to do stuff to him. So
now, for those of you who aren't familiar, the 50-move rule is 50 moves by both players, so 50 full moves without a capture and with no pawn pushes or pawn movements whatsoever. So here's where it starts.
Yeah, so e5 is his last pawn move. It's very unlikely pieces are going to be exchanged. It's so hard to exchange off his dark squared bishop. Opposite color bishops kind of gives him a color complex to at least hide his king on. So I knew no pieces would be exchanged. It's just a matter of checkmate or win a pawn. And to be fair, I'd kind of given up hope a bit later on. So when his king gets out, already it's very difficult here. His knight's coming around to a great square on f6. It's going to kind of cut my king off. Already I can't come back with the king, so I've kind of committed to going forward. So here my plan was to checkmate him on the h file, but so we can see it didn't really work out. King f4 here maybe is slightly more accurate, but then I was a bit scared he could run his king in. I nearly blundered some king f5, knight g7, which would be tricky. These knights, there's so many forks in every position that often he can play e6 and threaten some fork. So here I was pretty happy. I thought I'd got him into the edge of the board. He can't really wait with his bishop because his bishop on d6 has to protect both pawns. So he can't wait with his bishop. I thought if he waited with his king, then he might get forced even further towards the corner. But unfortunately, he always seems to have at least one waiting move to survive. Objectively, I felt I could have posed more problems, but maybe it is a draw after all. So, okay, around here, he put his knight on f8, creating a strange kind of fortress. He's keeping my king out, so his king will always be safe on g7 or h8. And here, I just wanted to repeat moves. I mean, as you can see, I played bishop b3, bishop a2, just trying to gain 30 seconds on the clock. But I realized after king h6, which might be a mistake, I could play bishop I should play bishop g8, and suddenly he has no waiting moves. I mean, if he moves to the knight, then at least I can, again, threaten some. I mean, it's just everything's a draw. I mean, I thought I could threaten some checkmate with king f4, but he always has this e6 idea. And okay, so I was just playing for tricks around here. I mean, one of my friends teases me about how I mean, this whole tournament I've kind of been tricking my way out of bad positions, and here that was my only hope really, to set a trap, kind of give him a few chances to go wrong. So, I mean, putting the bishop on g8, again, it looks quite nice. It looks like I'm trapping his king, but I mean, his knight covers everything. So okay, it didn't work out on the g file, so I came round to the 7th. I tried this way round, but now his king got out, and I was counting down to move 102 here, which would be the 50 move, 50 move draw. So, okay, I mean, I was just trying to cut his king off and hope for the best. I mean, he kind of kept his knight on f6, which looks nice, but here it doesn't really help his king survive. I mean, escape the checks. So, and I mean, okay, this is a critical moment again. I think he blundered around here just before. I mean, 5-6 moves to go before the 50 move rule. I mean, maybe he could just play bishop b8 or move his king. I mean, my trap is that bishop d6 obviously fails to rook takes f6, and his e-pawn is overloaded. So I was kind of trying to force him to play bishop d6. And here, I think only now he realized that bishop d6 would fail to bishop e2, and I force his knight back to f6 when I can take it. I mean, if it goes back to g3, I have rook f3 check. So I've kind of put his pieces on the only possible squares where they are actually vulnerable. And I was just, I was a bit surprised he just didn't keep his pieces all protected. Putting them on h5 and c7 just felt strange, and okay, luckily I have this bishop e2 trick, and everything works out just in time. Check. And yes, and I took this pawn on move 49. I mean, I was still, I was still pretty sure that he might be able to draw with best play, but okay, once the momentum changes, once I've got that pawn, I mean, it's going to be so hard for him to kind of mentally readjust and get back to defending all over again from move 50. Okay, so I repeated. Yeah, I was angry at myself again for repeating moves just in case we went back to another 50 moves. And here maybe king f5 is a mistake. I only realized after I played it. But so the idea, I thought maybe he could take rook c7, knight b8, and okay, I was pretty sure he wouldn't play knight b8. It just looks too strange. But suddenly his knight comes back to d4, and he's got all sorts of kind of knight forks again. So if he gets my b pawn, it's a draw. I mean, this should be winning if I can get my rook to a better square, if I can get my king towards the b pawn. But I wasn't sure how. I mean, the only move I can play to stop knight d4 is rook d7, but after king e3, suddenly he's threatening knight d4 again. If I go rook d5, there's another fork. So if I go back with my king, then he comes forward, and suddenly he's making progress. So I was thinking maybe I even have to play something a bit sad, like rook b7, king somewhere, and then rook b6. But at least he has some, and then bring my king across. But at least he has more practical chances here, maybe. Especially with my flag hanging again. But okay, so now his knight, without this e-pawn, it no longer has any kind of outposts. His bishop on c5 is the only one which, well, it wants to occupy c5. Both pieces do. But okay, I messed around a bit here. I didn't even really know what I was doing. Just trying to readjust. I was trying to set some traps. So for example, if he nearly played king c3 here, and then his knight gets trapped at the side of the board, because if he goes knight a5, then I have a similar trick, rook takes a5, and if he goes to d8, then his knight's trapped. So, okay. Eventually, I kind of found a plan to bring my king to d3. And once it gets here, again, he should have brought his king to d2, so it's closer to running away. So at least he can come around this way now and try and make me, or this at least, try and make me checkmate him all over again. But his knight is so bad here on a5 that I kind of felt it was winning. So once my king gets to d3, it's just all over. I think his king's trapped. Yeah, if knight f3, then similar, king c3, and his bishop's overloaded. It can never move from protecting the b4 pawn. Next move, I'm going bishop g4, and his king is in a net. So yeah, the game finished. Knight b3, and rook d2, and it's checkmate, or I'm winning this endgame. So, I mean, it's still a bit of a blur to me. I mean, I'm talking so much gibberish. Just
if the untrained eye looks at engines and looks at this game, they're like, well, okay, David's winning the end game. He's got this one in the bag. But that is a tactical minefield.
It is.
And all it takes is one mistake.
Exactly. I mean, his only mistake was at the worst possible moment. I mean, he defended so well. He saw all the tactics. He set all the traps. And I mean, endgames are. It's underestimated. They're all about calculation, especially in these kind of strange material imbalance positions. And engines don't really, they don't really portray that to us humans. I mean, they don't understand fortresses, and this was kind of a fortress for a lot of it. So, yeah, just happy to.
Before I pressed record, you mentioned that
Sure.
you were really, really not wanting it to go to a playoff, and you said, in fact, if it went to playoff, you didn't know if you could stand a chance. Why did you say that?
Sure. I mean, I think some of the other games finished after 2.5, 3 hours. I mean, my game finished 6 hours. I mean, after 6 hours, just half an hour ago.
Last one in the room.
Last one in the room. I mean, I was on increment for probably 100 out of those 130 moves. So, yeah, my nerves are a bit on end. So, I mean, when I woke up this morning, my goal was to get a tiebreak because I realized I was half a point behind. I thought, okay, if Fedoseev plays it safe, makes a draw with white, then I need to win just to get it there. But after a game like this, I mean, towards the end, I was determined that I had to just eke out every little chance just because the tiebreak, you know. Normally Rapid's my friend, but
well,
after a day like this...
This is a Blitz Armageddon.
So
yeah,
Blitz,
it's pretty extremely...
It's a lottery, yeah.
Mike Kummer was upstairs, like, rubbing his hands together, like, oh yeah, we're going to Armageddon, you know. Maybe.
Sorry, guys, that would have been fun for you.
It was not to be this time. Well, David, a bona fide pro chess player, what is next for you?
Next, I've got some tournaments lined up. I will be playing in the European Individual Championship in a couple of months to try and qualify for the World Cup. I mean, that's one thing I've never done, qualify for the World Cup, so that's my goal. It's very difficult in Europe. I mean, we've only got this one qualifier, and often 200-odd Grandmasters will turn up, so, and there's 20 qualifying places, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, long term, I don't know, I try not to set goals. I try to just enjoy it as it comes. But I guess reaching 2700 again would be good. I mean, I felt I had a bit of a dip last year. I mean, as soon as I hit 2700, it was kind of a roller coaster back down again. So I'd like to kind of maintain that, get a bit more stability to my play, and I mean, just enjoy it a bit more. Last year, I was constantly traveling, and I think I got a bit, well, the lifestyle. I mean, you know what chess is like. The lifestyle's a bit tricky. You have to keep motivating yourself to wake up in the mornings, and especially when things are going badly, it's difficult. But that's my goal, to just kind of live in the moment and enjoy it.
Well, I think that's a great outlook. And David, congratulations again, man. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Front runner for most of the tournament. Here he is, England's Grandmaster David Howell, the champion of the 2017 Winter Chess Classic Group A. There was a three-way tie for fourth place. So Sam Shankland, Alexander Ipatov, and Yaro Zarabuk will share $1,000 fourth place prize. Just short of making that playoff, coming in at second place with 5.5 points, tied Vladimir Fedoseev and Darius Svirts. These two players will split $5,000, which is the sum of the second and third place prizes. And your Group A champion, David Howell of England, $5,000 in his name. He looks forward to future tournaments coming right back here to the St. Louis Chess Club. Going into the final round, Grandmaster Baryshpolets had 6 points, followed by GMs Karilla and Hess at 5 apiece. In Group B, we have the winner of the entire field, Grandmaster Andrey Baryshpolets. An amazing tournament you had, with just the exception of the hiccup in the 7th round, man. 5 straight wins in the middle of this thing. What do you make of it?
Well, thank you for congratulations. Yeah, it was really a tough tournament for me, even though I managed to win 5 games in a row. But like the finish of the tournament was really hard for me because, yeah, especially because of this loss in the 7th round. Yeah, when I just messed up like everything in the opening, and after that I had very little chance to just to save the game. Yeah, and still, I don't know, maybe like it took me too much energy to win those 5 games in a row, and maybe this explains why it wasn't so smooth in the end. But still, like all the opponents are really strong, and definitely in this tournament you cannot say like you definitely can win like this guy and this guy you're gonna draw, so not like that. So each and every game you need to work as best as you can, and just to try to show your best chess. Yeah, and I'm really just happy to win this tournament, so of course. Irina played bishop f1 here, which frankly I didn't like because after queen e4 I was feeling that at this point I can be only better. So from now on only white needs to be precise in order not to end up in a worse position. So queen c3 and once again b4. I really like this idea because just not allowing this queen on c3. So and here, yeah, maybe queen c5 or queen d2 were some options. However, here it doesn't seem dangerous for black, apparently. So I can play rook d8, for example. Yeah, and this should be just simply okay for black. But after queen c6, I was really confident at this point that I'm not gonna lose this one, for sure. And actually, I was thinking of trying to make some problem for black because I'm sorry, for white, because it's without queens, it's not that obvious whether like white can hold this or not, because the endgame is clearly slightly better for black. a3, I think a normal move, and here I spent some time calculating move b3. This was another tempting option. However, I felt like shouldn't be enough for a win for black. I don't know, maybe rook c3 or bishop d3. So there are some options for white. So I decided that a5 is just simply safer. So of course b3 is more ambitious. However, at this point I had a feeling that okay, so maybe if I misplay something, so I just can end up with this weak pawn. So that's why I decided to just simply go for a5, and clearly here is no risk for black. So f4 was a possible move. However, I thought like maybe maybe bishop d3. I felt like was another chance. However, anyway, it should be just simply drawish endgame for both sides. So f4, rook c8, rook b6, yeah, b3. Maybe rook b8 was another option, but still, at this point, I'm not pretending to win this one because there is kind of no penetration for black's rook, and yeah, so this just should be a simple draw. So I was just hoping for that kind of line. So after rook takes c8, rook c8, and I thought like my only chance to create some problems is bishop c4. And now it seemed to me that the only precise move for white is king f1, and it should end up in just a simply drawish rook endgame, something like this. Rook c2 and rook b3. Yeah, and after taking should be a draw. So rook b6, b3, f5. Yeah, f5 is just kind of a normal option, but anyway, this just should be a draw. And here I felt like maybe rook g takes on b3 was better. But still, so not much to say about this position. Should be just a draw. Bishop e6, rook c3, rook b8, b3, and here I offered a draw, which was accepted. However, like after the game, I was thinking like whether I could play this one for a win even. I don't know. So my first intention was something like this. If I I mean, if white plays bishop c4, then I can take, and this position might be a little trickier than it seems, because here there's simply not many moves for white to make. So if c5, then I simply have rook c2, and I just can try to play the 3 versus 2, which is of course objectively a draw. However, like at the very last moment, I thought like maybe king f2 is not that clear, and frankly, I wasn't sure whether this line is okay. But now I just see that this one also should be fine for black. For example, I don't know, some ridiculous lines like this. I don't know. I believe that should be okay for black. However, I just decided to offer a draw as soon as possible because, like, in the time trouble, you never know. So you just can, you know, lose the control, and that's not what I wanted. So I thought that this is just the right time to offer a draw. So yeah.
Well, and with that draw, that's enough to clinch Group B. What's next for you on the chess horizon?
Oh, well, I'm gonna play Final Four tournament just in a week, or even less than a week. So the first round is gonna be next Saturday. So yeah, not much time to chill.
Yeah, don't relax for too long. Well, Andrey,
Okay.
a very hearty congratulations to you,
Thank
sir.
you.
We have Grandmaster Andrey Baryshpolets, the 2017 Winter Chess Classic Group B champion. Your fourth placers, Alejandro Ramirez and Ben Feingold, with 4.5 points, will split the fourth place prize, $1,000. Third place, Robert Hess, nets $1,500. Christian Kurilla, with 6 out of 9, will take home $2,500. And from Ukraine, the Group B champion, Andrey Baryshpolets, with 6.5 points, takes $4,000. The 2017 Winter Chess Classic is in the books. We had a lot of great games played. Check them out on uschesschamps.com. And remember, this is only the beginning. 4 tournaments just like this every year, 1 per season. For the St. Louis Chess Club, I'm Ben Simon. So long from the Show Me State.